Welcome to Slasher Sunday. So tonight I'm going to talk about the movie Silent Rage starring Chuck Norris. Now I've been told from a lot of people that this is a slasher movie with action in it as well. And I can see why they say that. I see it. I wouldn't really call this a slasher per se, but that's all right. So I wanted to do a couple different kinds of movies like this, like Cobra and 10 to Midnight, other action stars with slasher elements. So maybe I'll do them, maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll see how this goes over. So, as I said, this stars Chuck Norris. Yeah, let the Chuck Norris jokes fly. Is Chuck Norris really that badass? I mean, is he really like super super badass? Because I don't know if I've ever really watched a Chuck Norris movie. I've only seen him on, commercials for like what was it, the Bowflex or some shit. And then he was in a Bruce Lee movie, and I think I have passed like Walker Texas Ranger once or twice on TV for a minute, and I haven't really had that many interactions with him. And the choreography in this movie is just dreadful. So none of his fighting prowess or abilities seem to be on display here. So after watching this movie, I almost have to wonder if the whole Chuck Norris being a badass thing. I know he was a fighter. Like, I know he was a legit good fighter, but I guess he doesn't sell himself in film very well, which doesn't really mean anything. I mean, you can be the most badass guy on earth and make a movie and look like a total wimp. It doesn't mean you're tough just because you make a good flick and look tough. So I get that, but I guess that's what it comes down to with film. We want to believe you're badass. We don't need to know you actually are. I don't know. So, anyways, I'd never seen this movie before, obviously, and I wasn't impressed. I know there's a good amount of people who love this movie, and I see some of the charm. I see, it in pieces here and there, but this isn't a very good movie. Like, even from this is kind of fun, silly, but not very good, but still watchable kind of stuff. It's just kind of boring a lot of the times. I mean, the killer's in the first like 5 minutes, and then he disappears for the next 45 minutes. Like, he doesn't come back into the movie till 50 minutes in, and there's no sight of him outside of him being in it. There's no sight of him outside of him being like a coma patient. So they go to his body a couple times while these doctors are experimenting on him, and they're setting it up. They're building the character development and whatnot. But I will say that I did like the relationship between Dan, the sheriff, played by Chuck Norris here, and Charlie, his deputy. I thought that was pretty funny. I like Charlie a lot. I thought he was pretty funny. At first, I was kind of eye-rolly with him because I thought he was just going to be that dopey cop throughout the movie that was going to get on my nerves. But there's something charming about him, something playfully silly that actually made me laugh and find him endearing. Just kind of a goof, but a fun goof, not an annoying goof like in a lot of these movies. And I like that the opening shot is one long take. I thought that was pretty cool. That got me pretty interested in the film until, and then Chuck Norris shows up and he's in the sun and he's all looking badass, and they're shooting him from these like low angles to make him look bigger and more intimidating. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And they have their fight, and this guy does like a shining axe through the door, and he actually looks through the hole in the door, and like total ripoff. And the mailman sees her screaming from upstairs and just goes off and runs and calls the police. Now, what I would think you should do is yell out to other people to go, call the police and then get your ass in there and help because she lost her life. I mean, he may have lost his life. One dude did try to help him, and he like broke a chair over his back. Kind of reminded me something out of like Terminator. At this point, this guy is, raging hard. And raging hard. He had a big old hard on in his hand, and he was beating people to death with it. That would have been good. No, not that kind of raging hard. He was raging really hard. That sounds fucking sexual too. You guys know what I'm talking about. He has silent rage. So Chuck Norris comes in, whoops his ass, takes him in, and he breaks his cuffs like an SLC punk and kicks the door right out from the cop car. And then the cops shoot this guy, seemingly to death, but, he's Tupac, he's 50 Cent. And they take him in, and he survives it, and they give him this serum, which turns him into Wolverine, and he can heal instantly. And then, the rest of the movie, up until he comes back, is just Chuck Norris. He's hitting on this chick, Allison. Of course, he's a heartbreaker, because that's what they always make these characters. And she's like, no matter what you say, and no matter what you do, you are not getting me into bed again. Hard cut to them banging it out. And it's like, no means no until it's a yes, right? That's what we teach the little lads. Just keep pushing. You'll get it eventually, right? Yikes. And of course, I love how after his fight, he's just in this hospital, and he's just sitting there shirtless talking to the doc, and the doctor's like, I'm not used to working on normal specimens. I'm used to working on, more advanced stuff. And he's like digging at this guy, and he's like, bitch, I'm Chuck Norris, okay? You should be lucky I'm in here. And then, he sleeps with this chick, and then the next day she wants more, and so she's upset with him, and it's like, dude, didn't you get it? Not that I'm not saying I'm some saint. I've had my issues in these regards as well, so I can empathize. But when you're on the outside looking in, you start to reflect and go, dumb. Why'd I do that? Dumb. When someone's in that place in their life where they want a relationship and all you're doing is fucking them, and they give in to you because they want to be with you, and they know that's the only thing they can get from you, you're taking advantage of them. It's not the worst thing ever. I'm not calling the people rapists or something insane. I'm just saying it's not cool. And I've done it. Absolutely. I've done it, and I feel terrible about it now later on. But just watching it in this movie, I was like, this is sad, man. This girl wants something from this guy. Really. And she's very, very clear about it. Multiple times. And it's funny because she leaves him again, and she's all angry with him, and then she comes back over and she's like, all right, can I talk? Because I need to say something, and if I don't say something, I'm not going to say something. And he's like, all right, go ahead. And she's like, I want to try this again, okay? Is that okay with you? And he's like, yep, yes. That's literally all he says. Or okay, I think. And then boom, he's fucking her again. It's like, so are you going to date her? Because if you're not going to date her, that's kind of a dick move. And as I said, I'm not completely innocent in this at all, but he's 45 years old in this movie, and we got to grow up sometime. So I'm in, hey, but not trying to judge, just saying. I love how the biker chick has temporary tattoos that are still glistening and wet from when they put them on her tits. That was pretty hilarious. A lot of great tits in this movie. Allison has great tits. She's our main girl here, and she's in bed with Chuck Norris, and she's got an amazing body. Really cute chick. All the biker chicks are total babes and have great tits, and they show them off. So a lot of great tittage, great tittage. Boobage is better. Yeah, boobage. Major boobage. So good stuff there. And then, I mean, he goes in the bar. He has this big bar fight, and the bar fight's really poorly choreographed and shot. And then the guy tries to just drive his motorcycle through a window for some reason. I love that the chick shows her tits to the deputy, and the deputy actually goes to grab them. And the deputy's hilarious. Like when he says pull over here, and he does like a full 180 turnaround, and then he goes in and then he sees this girl's tits, which are fucking fantastic. They're really nice tits. I get it. He's just like, whoa, guys are just pathetic, and they just, what the fuck? Especially this guy probably doesn't get laid all that much. But he goes out when Dan's like, call for backup. And he goes out and he's on the radio and he's telling his friend of how amazing the tits are and how he's about to go back in there and actually ask her out. That was everything with Charlie, for me, is the highlight of this movie. I think everything he says and does in this movie is pretty fucking hilarious. So, A+ for Charlie. I'm all about him. And the killer, John Kirby, he kind of reminds me of Michael Myers in this. His face even kind of looks like Michael Myers, but just skin toned, like his hair and everything. It just reminds me of it. But that's the dude from Shawshank Redemption, the one that actually killed Andy Dufresne's wife and lover. That's how I always remember him. He's the biker in the mist and all sorts of other stuff, but that's how I always remember him is the actual killer. Why Andy does like 20 years. And then why was that guy's motorcycle inside the bar? And he was trying to ride it through the window. Like, that wasn't going to be a successful jump anyway. So even if he didn't knock him off the bike, he was going to get knocked off the bike. And then, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of buildup for the killer to kill. And all the kills are lame as shit. So then Chuck Norris comes in the room after he's chasing Allison for a while, shoots him out a window on like the 3rd story or something, falls down, hits the ground hard. Dan comes out, looks at him. The dude gets up, starts fighting him. He pushes him down. The girl drives over. They get in the car. The dude comes in the back seat. So then they get out of the car. The dude's trying to drive the car, and instead of just jumping out as well, but whatever. He's trying to drive the car, and then he goes off this cliff. Thing bursts into flames. He's on fire, runs, puts himself out. Then him and Chuck Norris get into this, or Dan, get into this big fight. Norris, of course, kicks his ass finally. Kicks him down a well. He kicks him down a well. You know what's at the bottom of a well, right? Okay. So he kicked him out of he shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. He shot him a bunch of times. He fell out a fucking window from multiple stories up. Set him on fire. Dude's fine. Kicks him down a well into some water. And Allison's like, is it over? And he's like, yeah, babe, it's over. Let's go fuck. And the movie's over. And then the guy pops up out of the water. Duh. Like, that's not even one where they needed to show us the killer popping up because we knew he was alive. It's like, well, yeah, he's alive down there, obviously. He just climbed right up out of that freaking well. That should be the part 2, Silent Rage 2. He just right up out of the well and he goes right after him. Maybe he should have thrown a stick of dynamite down there first. And then the dude could have swam out and lived at a hermit's house for a year. That's a really good idea. And I hope someone one day does it, because that makes so much sense why a hermit would take care of a fucking known serial killer for no reason. Is it over? It's over for me. That's what he should have said. It's over for me. I'm done dealing with this shit. I got shit to do. I don't want to do this. I mean, they pay me like $12,000 a year. I ain't dealing with this psycho no more. Let the freaking Rangers have him as me, as the hillbillies in Halloween 4 say. So yeah, that was not great. Not great. Fight scenes are lame. Kill sequences are lame. But Charlie the deputy, you, sir, are the best thing about this movie. So, hats off to you. Adios. See you next week.